I created my office with the name Deeper Healing, looking for the reasons that we are sick and then what we need to do to get rid of it. Eliminate the bad stuff, replace with the good stuff. There are so many different ways that we can screw ourselves over. And all of it depends a lot on what our genetics is, because the genetics will point the gun, but the environment that you're exposed to will pull the trigger. So this is the critical part, is avoidance is going to be the key to how successful you are in terms of your health and avoiding illness. And so many people have come to me with a variety of different problems, from chronic Lyme or chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia or you name it. Put the word chronic in front of it and they're at my doorstep. And that's really not the problem. The problem is the inflammation. And when it comes to inflammation, there are three major manifestations, particularly when you're dealing with environmental toxicants. You're going to have hormone disruption, you're going to have immune system dysregulation, and then you're going to have the neurovascular, which is kind of everything else, the brain fogs and the tachycardia and the irritable bowel, chronic infection. Part of my biggest problem is getting the patient to understand that what they think the name for their problem is not reflect what their problem is. So you can come to me and say, oh, I have chronic Lyme disease. I'm going to say, no, you have an immune dysregulation caused by your diet, your emotional balance, your environmental exposures, or what's already wrong with you physically, like you're chronically ill. Because you may say, bit by that tick, and I had the target lesion, and I have Lyme, and I've done all these treatments for Lyme, and that is the straw that broke your camel's back. But if you ignore all the other straw your camel was already carrying before you got that tick bite, you're never going to get better. If you're sick, you're not going to feel well, and other things are going to start, you're going to get into a mental state of, I'll never get better. And if you establish that in your brain, if you have that emotional trauma loop going on in your brain, it's going to be virtually impossible to make you well physically until we also break that loop. So when I look at somebody that comes into me and they say, I have this disease or that disease, I try to say, no, what you have is an inflammatory response, an inappropriate inflammatory response that has led to you feeling this way. We need to sit back and look at everything from literally the time you were in your mother's womb to now to see what impact you have. You've got to address it all.